So clearly in that clip, we see that Moana is struggling with that question of identity. Who am I? Who am I supposed to be? What am I called to do? And it's such a mighty struggle for her because there are clearly people who are convinced that they know who she is and what she ought to do. And maybe that's why this movie has been so popular, because that question of identity is a universal question. To be human means to struggle with that question of who am I? And what am I supposed to do? What am I called to do? And it's a question we don't answer just once in our lives, but we answer it throughout our lives. And during our lives, there are people who have pretty strong opinions about who we are and what they think we should do. Parents and family and friends and mentors and teachers. But think about all the times that you've answered that question, who am I? And what am I called to be? Maybe in middle school you wrestled with the question like, do I want to be one of those smart kids? Or do I want to be one of those kids who's known as a smart aleck to all of the teachers? You enter high school and you love to do theater and you also love sports, but there's only so many hours in a day and you have to make that choice. Am I going to be an actor or an athlete? At the end of this mission trip, I had the opportunity to drive Abby Johnstone from Plymouth to the Raleigh-Durham airport, which is about a 2-hour drive. Abby is a recent college graduate. And as we drove, we talked about the pressure on college kids and on recent college graduates to decide who they are. If you decide on your major, does that mean that's going to define who you are for the rest of your life? Your first job out of college, is that going to define your profession for the rest of your life? Or what if you don't know what you want to be when you grow up, when you graduate from college? What does that mean? And as adults, we wrestle with the question, who do I want to be in my profession? What am I called to be in my family? Who am I in my community? What am I called to do in my church? As retired people, who am I and what am I called to do or to be? That question of identity. Moana is struggling with it and struggling to find her own way to understand who she is and what she is called to do, and to listen to that voice within her. It's a question we all struggle with. It's a question that even Jesus struggled with. You heard that in the scripture that Brian read. Who do people say that I am? And there was confusion about who Jesus was. That question of identity. And yet, there is a common call. A common response, a common voice that calls all of us who are people of faith. So it's beyond who we are, who we're called to be. As people of faith, there is this one call, an annoyingly persistent call that pulls us to answer the question, who are we as people of faith? We are people who will love and serve. So no matter how we answer those other questions of identity and what we're called to do, at the very core of our being, as people of faith, we are called to love and to serve. And so there'll be that pull, that inner voice, the spirit that just won't let us go until we respond to that